Hi everyone, welcome to this quickfire PC webinar on Super Simple Advisory. Just going to give our attendees a couple more minutes to join in and then we'll get started. Be advised that we will be recording this session, so if you want to watch it afterwards or share it with any of your colleagues, you can do so. Alrighty, so I think we'll get started. So welcome to this quickfire PC webinar on Super Simple Advisory. My name is Joe Malvkia and I am a partner consultant for the Malaysia and Emerging Markets region. I'm based in Singapore. A little bit about me, I've been with Xero for a year and a half. I joined at the start of 2021. Prior to Xero, I worked for RSM in Australia, so mid-tier accounting firm, and I was part of the digital advisory team, which had two core functions. One was digitalizing everything internally within our business advisory division, which was the largest division of RSM nationally. And then I also had a secondary function, which was providing app advisory and technology consulting to our clients. So today I'm going to be giving you a quick introduction to Super Simple Advisory. And we're going to be looking at what is advisory, why you should be offering advisory or considering offering it, and actually how you can get started with it right away. And then I'll give you a quick wrap up and some next steps as well. So we're going to be keeping this pretty quick. If you have any questions, there is a Q&A box. I encourage you to ask those questions in the Q&A box. If we have time, we'll get to them at the end. Otherwise, my colleague Ananya will be answering those questions along the way as well. So I think without further ado, let's just get straight into it. What is advisory? So you probably have your own definitions about what advisory is or what business advisory is. In the context of Xero, and this is my own definition, I consider advisory to be analyzing a business's financial and non-financial data, discerning insights from that data, and consulting the client, the business, on those insights to help them make better decisions, and most importantly, to grow. That's why we do this. We want to help our clients to grow. I consider advisory to be the human element of our industry. It is the method by which we create a positive emotional impact on our clients. And I'm going to be talking shortly on why that is so important. And I also believe that it is going to be an essential part of our industry in the future. And there is a lot of conversation in some of our other markets, New Zealand, Australia, the UK, the US, about the importance of advisory for all accountants and bookkeepers. And I'll be talking a little bit about why I think that is the case. So when we talk about advisory, obviously there's a lot to that. The insights that you can glean from financial data and the consultation and the advice you can give to your clients based on that can take many different forms. So what I'm showing you here is what I call the spectrum of advisory, or the different levels of advisory. Now, I didn't actually come up with this myself. This is borrowed from a great book, which I actually recommend everyone should read, and it's called The Pace Setters. It's by Josh Drummond, who is an ex-Xero employee out of the UK, and it's all about the accounting and bookkeeping firms that are really setting the pace, that are really excelling and evolving beyond traditional accounting and differentiating themselves through advisory. And it gives lots of tips and tricks about how you can do that yourself. So the different levels of advisory, we start with compliance accounting. Now, this is the bread and butter. This is the stuff that you guys are already doing day in and day out, and it is absolutely essential. But if we want to evolve into this advisory space, we need to start looking at first our simple advisory building blocks, and then that will in turn allow us to move into complex advisory. So a compliance accounting, things like year-end tax returns, annual financial statements, bookkeeping, and other tax compliance. From there, we move into simple advisory. This is that taking that data that we gain through the processes within this compliance accounting space, and then we actually use that to create a positive impact on our clients through cash flow forecasting, or helping our clients with their budgeting, or helping them with business planning, app advisory, and software implementation. So these are individual value-added services that we can add in the simple advisory space to add real tangible value to our clients. And from there, we can actually evolve further into complex advisory. And some of the things that we have here are succession planning, capital raising, performance benchmarking, or even international affairs, helping our clients to move beyond their local markets and into a global scale. So this is the sort of the spectrum of advisory, and everything I'm sort of talking about today is, it's basically, it's with a mind of evolving into this complex advisory space. But this is a super simple advisory webinar. So we're mainly going to be looking at the space right here and how we can get started in this. So that is advisory. That's what advisory is. And now I'm just going to quickly give you some insights as to why I think you should be offering advisory. Now, everything that I'm talking about today is not just coming from me. This is a conversation that has been had globally about the future of the accounting and bookkeeping industries. And there are a few reasons why advisory is becoming increasingly important for you and your practices. So the first one is AI and automation, what I affectionately call the robot takeover. So AI and automation, as you're probably aware, are taking over and replacing the need for dedicated staff in a lot of industries. And our industry is no different. Most professional services are no different. And as AI and automation take over and replace the need for those dedicated staff for things like manual data entry, any manual tasks really, we will all need to adapt. But this doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be, you know, oh no, the robots are coming for my jobs or anything like that. In fact, we should be seeing it as an opportunity. Part of that opportunity comes down to cost. Now, cost is an almost constant concern. I know this to be the case. I mean, ask yourself right now, how often do you worry about your costs and how much you charge for your services? Now, if you're anything like the partners that I work with on a day-to-day basis, I would say that this is constant, right? It's a constant concern for a lot of accounting practices. You know, are their overheads too high? Do they have too many staff who are ineffective? Are they able to charge what they really need to be charging to make a reasonable return on those services? I know a lot of my partners right now are concerned coming out of COVID about price wars. There's a lot of competition in the market. You know, local businesses can go overseas for outsourced services. So price wars are a big concern. And how do you differentiate yourself? How do you charge what you want to charge while keeping your costs low? So advisory is a really good way of actually achieving that. And the reason is because advisory gives a real human value, a tangible value. Remember, I spoke previously about positive emotional impact. So if you can have a positive emotional impact by providing the services that you're already providing, if you can add tangible value that your clients really feel, they are going to be much, much less concerned about the cost of your services, which means you can charge what you want to charge. And this is because they feel that you are genuinely invested in their business and you are an asset to their business to help them grow. When you have this type of relationship, you build a really strong referral network. And that in turn means more good business, because all of your clients that feel like you are an asset to them will want to share that with their friends, with their family, with their business partners, etc. So this is how we overcome that price war, by differentiating, by creating a network of clients and their referrals who are really positive about the services that you're providing. We can only do that through advisory, and I'll explain why. So also additionally, with advisory, it is the natural evolution of the current structure of most practices. It is a natural evolution from bookkeeping and basic accounting. So this is another thing, what I said about how in our other markets, Australia, New Zealand, UK, US, advisory is all anyone is talking about, because it is a natural evolution from sort of the kind of manual data entry focused tasks that accountants and bookkeepers used to do. It is the natural evolution from that. In turn, simple advisory opens doors to even more profitable services like virtual CFO and all of those complex advisory services that I showed you in the previous slide. And the other thing as well, and this is an added bonus, it creates happier staff. And that's because your staff have more ownership. They're not just doing manual tasks. It provides them with more opportunities for specialized growth. And that means that you have a loyal team who are dedicated and committed to growing their own expertise and becoming even more valuable for your business. So that is another great reason that you should be considering advisory. So we've talked about the what, and we've talked about the why. And now I think the reason most people sign up today is because they want to know how to start. They want to know how to start with super simple advisory. So I'm going to jump straight into that. I've talked a little bit about value, tangible value, that positive emotional impact that advisory can have on your clients. What we want to do is stack tangible value without increasing our costs significantly or increasing our fees. Now, I know that can seem counterintuitive. The whole idea of this, the whole idea of offering advisory services is so that we can get more revenue, but there's a process to it. And as I mentioned, a lot of businesses are cost conscious right now, and that can result in these price wars that I sort of mentioned, whereby your clients might come to you and go, hey, the other accounting firm down the road is charging $100 per month where you're charging $200. How come? Why shouldn't I go and speak with them if they're going to do everything that you do cheaper? So what we need to do is overcome that mindset within your clients by adding tangible value without immediately increasing the cost that you're charging to them or increasing the cost that you're incurring yourself. So how we do this is we start by identifying and utilizing the tools that we already have in our toolbox. Now, I like to think of these tools as in two separate compartments. One are our human tools, and that is any unique expertise or any expertise really that we already have within our team. Now, you guys have, plenty of expertise. Everyone attending today most likely is a qualified certified accountant or some sort of qualified financial advisor. You have expertise that businesses need. So that right there is, a tool in your toolbox. Additional tools in your toolbox might be unused functionality in the technology that you already have. If you're a Xero partner, you're likely using Xero already or HubDoc. But making sure that you're using, as much of the platform as possible, using all of the features to automate your processes, etc. If there are any unused tools within Xero or HubDoc or any of your technology that you're not using, by utilizing those, we can cut down on some of our costs, automate some of our standard processes, open up new opportunities within this advisory space. We can use tools that we're already using to add value without increasing our costs. Spoken a little bit about automation, and that is my next point, is that we should be leveraging automation. As I mentioned, AI and automation taking over in a lot of industries. Ours is no different, with things like OCR and HubDoc and Dext that automatically scan receipts and invoices. That's a classic example right there. The seamless flow of data in between all of our apps, all of our technology is really enabling automation to not just be something that we need to worry about, but a really effective tool. And practices that invest time in automating their standard processes will be able to not only scale their advisory offering, but scale their business as a whole much more rapidly. Anyone who is trying to do everything manually, they're not going to have the time to invest in growing their business or adding new value-added services. But automation can be a tricky beast to tackle. So what I recommend is, if you haven't implemented much automated processes within your business yet, start with really low-hanging fruit. So look at the tools that you've already got. If it's Xero and HubDoc, HubDoc is a classic example of automation, as I mentioned, that you can be using right now with not much time investment, not much additional expertise required to get it up and running. Additionally, take a look at some of your processes that are taking a long time, particularly anything that has manual data entry involved. Look at where the bottlenecks are in your processes. See if you can automate those. So that's what I mean by these low-hanging fruit, because if you can save considerable amount of time by automating those manual tasks, it gives you the time and capacity to start offering advisory, to look at changing the way that you interact with your clients, and to really grow your business. So automation is key. And then the final one is cultivating expertise. So I mentioned that there's two different sides to the toolbox. One is your human side, one is your tech side. This is the human side that we're looking at here. The best way to cultivate expertise is to establish champions. Now, whenever I work with my Xero partners, I'm always talking about the need for a Xero champion, someone who can take charge of Xero within your team, take ownership for it. They are the Xero expert. They're the ones that you go to. They're the ones that your clients go to if you ever need any technical support or advice on Xero. And it shouldn't just be for Xero. You should have champions in every pillar of your business, especially your client-facing business. And the reason is because when you grow these experts, those staff members, they feel ownership, responsibility for something. They feel more positive about the work they're doing. That's one additional benefit. But more importantly, you have a dedicated person that you can go to when you need to solve a problem or identify opportunities to make things better within your existing processes and workflows. So cultivate expertise within champions, and that their expertise, their knowledge will naturally flow down into the rest of the team. And in doing this and establishing champions and then cultivating their expertise, we provide opportunities for growth and learning, which again means a more engaged staff, a team of staff who are going to be more loyal and more committed to growing with your practice. Another thing you can do, and I know that there are a couple of my partners who are doing this very successfully, it can be a little bit daunting to consider this, but it is building teams around function rather than client groups. I know traditionally a lot of practices like to work with, this team looks after this pool of clients and this team looks after this pool of clients. But if you can consider changing up your team so that they're based on function, so this team looks after the bookkeeping, for instance, and then this team looks after generating reports and providing simple advisory. What you do is you create more seamless workflows. You don't have to have separate pillars of expertise. You can have sort of like teams that build up their expertise, get faster and faster, find opportunities for how they can streamline their processes, and you're not replicating any of that work. It also allows for much easier approvals throughout your entire bookkeeping, accounting, and advisory processes. And then finally, this is one that I think is really important, and it's basically taking a little taste of human psychology, and it's about providing something tangible. I've mentioned previously tangible value. What does that actually mean? Basically, we as humans don't like spending money on nothing. And unfortunately, and I hope I don't offend anyone here, sometimes the services that we as accountants provide, whether it be annual financial statements or tax returns or things like that, it can sometimes feel like nothing. It can feel like we're paying for something because we have to. We have to get this done. You know, compliance accounting has to be done, and we're paying a lot of money for it, but we don't feel like we're getting anything tangible back from that money. So if we can give our clients something tangible, and by tangible I mean something we can see, touch, experience, or consume, we can overcome this sort of fear of spending money on nothing. And that is a great way to overcome that cost concern within a lot of our clients. And a very easy way to do this is to provide to your clients advice documents and dashboards. Because it's something that they can consume, it's something that they can experience, see, and get real value from. So that is another one there. So I've mentioned 4 things that you can kind of do to get started. And what I'm going to do now is quickly combine all 4 of those things into one simple solution to get you started with super simple advisory. And that is the new Xero monthly management reports. So if anyone's taken a look at the monthly management report recently, you'll notice that it's had a bit of a facelift, a bit of an overhaul, and there's some really great functionality within that. So I'm going to take a look at that now. So here I am in my Xero demo company, and here is the management report. So the management report is essentially a report pack comprised of 6 key reports: our executive summary, cash summary, profit and loss, balance sheet, and AR summary and AP summary. You can actually add additional reports to this, change the order, move around, remove any reports that you want as well. But now I'm going to leave it as is. And what I want to show you is a new feature, which is the notes feature. Now, this is my advice. If you aren't offering advisory and you want to, start with this. Pick a couple of clients that you think might benefit from your advisory. Run their monthly management report. Review it quickly and pull out 3 figures. 3 figures, that's all. Just 3 figures that you think are noteworthy. So let's take a look at our executive summary, and I'm going to just quickly run down and I'm going to take a look at the cash surplus, which in this case is a significant deficit and also a significant decline from last year. Now that's noteworthy. So what I'm going to do is do just that. I'm going to make a note of that. Now that's going to take me down to the bottom of the page and allow me to enter a note here. So I'm going to just say cash deficit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write a few sentences, super simple, that I think are important for this business to know about that number. So in this case, I've just said, I can see that you've got a significant cash deficit. This is attributed to your higher than usual spending. Part of that was advertising, which we've previously discussed. I know that's for your campaign, but I can also see that your entertainment expenditure was equally significant. In the future, you might consider, if you've got non-expenditures coming up, reduce your non-essential expenditure. Super simple. Now, I'm not a very good financial advisor, but even I can do something as simple as this. And then we create a call to action. Let's discuss next week. So that's one. I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to go through and review and maybe find another figure. So I'm going to go take a look at our profit and loss. And right up top here, I can see that sales have dropped by 25%. Now that's significant. I know a little bit about my client's business. I have an inkling as to why that might have dropped off this month. I'm going to add a note. Sales decline and I've got a few sentences of advice based on that. So their sales have dropped off by 25%, and I believe this is probably because 2 of their key sales staff were on leave last month. Now, I've got a member of my team who's working with a lot of my clients on e-commerce and building up passive sales revenue. So I think it would be good for this client to meet with Lenny and have a discussion about any opportunities that can help them to avoid significant drop-offs in their sales in the future. So I'm going to encourage them to meet with Lenny when they come in next week. And that's all you need to do. Now, realistically, if you know a business and you know how to analyze their financial data, you can do this in 10 minutes. And you don't even have to be the one doing it. Your junior staff can do this. And I know this for a fact because one of my key partners, he gets his junior staff to do this. And in fact, what he does is when they first come on as a staff member, he gets 2 or 3 of his really good clients who's got a really good relationship with, and he says, look, I'm going to be handing over your advisory to one of my junior staff. Bear with them for a little bit. They may take a little while to get rolling. I'll be reviewing all of the advice, but just let them, bear with them. And then, occasionally these clients come back and they say, oh, like Joe, your junior staff offered terrible advice. You need to have a word with them. But it's a learning opportunity, not just for your younger staff, but also for you as well. So super easy way of offering simple advisory. And the great thing about this is you can package it all up into that tangible piece of advice, as I mentioned. So if we export this as a styled PDF, I'm going to use my PDF styling here. I'm going to include a cover and a contents page, export this, give that a moment to run. And then here we have a really nice styled management report. And this has all of my notes and advisory in it here. So easily digestible for my clients. They don't need to know too much jargon to be able to understand this, see what the importance is for their business, and make better decisions in the future. And that in turn will enable them to grow a lot better, making them happy, happy clients, happy life. So that is the management report, super simple stuff. Beyond the management report, there are a whole lot of other great apps in our Xero ecosystem that can be really beneficial if you want to start offering advisory. The most obvious choices are the reporting, forecasting, and analysis apps. Fathom through Spotlight. These are great. They automatically pull all of the data from Xero and just actually they give you the insights that you can use, as well as presenting all of these insights and data in a really nice, neat dashboard, which you can hand over to your client and they can review that in real time and see how their business is doing. I also mentioned automation. There's some great automation tools that you can be using: Dext, Expensify, Zapier, and Approval Max, and some other useful tools just to kind of help you organize your life, take payments faster, things like that: Stripe, Calendly, Asana, and Quilla. If you want to have a chat about any of these apps, I encourage you to drop a Q&A and I will follow up with you on these as well. So that's the what, the why, and the how. Quick wrap up. The what is advisory? It's the analysis, insights, and consultation back to your clients. It's the human element to our industry. And we've got to remember that your expert advice helps businesses grow. That is the purpose of advisory. Why? We want to overcome price wars. We want to differentiate ourselves. We want to create less concern about costs, not only within our business, but for our clients. That in turn will build a stronger referral base, which means we have to spend less time in business development, and it builds a more robust business. The how: stack tangible value, use the existing tools you have in your tool set, whether that's existing tech or existing human resources you have. Leverage automation as much as you can. It will take a little bit of time investment to get started with simple advisory, and especially with complex advisory. So if you can automate your standard day-to-day processes, especially the manual ones, you're going to have more time, more capacity to do that. And cultivate experts. Next steps. First one, identify 3 clients that you think might be ready for advisory services and get started with that management report. So just send them that on a monthly basis. 2, identify and cultivate your first champion. So I really recommend this. It's, I think, one of the most important elements to advisory is the human part. Cultivate experts, cultivate champions. Check out the new management report, as I said. And finally, as a bonus, read Blue Ocean Strategy and The Pace Setters. So these are great books about the future of the accounting industry and what you can be doing to differentiate yourself and evolve out of the manual tasks and into future of advisory. Finally, if you're not part of the Xero Partner Program and you don't have, you haven't yet connected with a Xero Partner consultant like myself, there's a great team of us based here in Singapore and Hong Kong. So I really recommend, if you're not a Xero Partner already, scan the QR code, join the partner program and connect with your Xero Partner consultant. I have been Joe, and we've run a little bit of overtime today, so I do apologize for that. If there are any questions in the Q&A box, I'll check those out now. So first one here up top, Dex and HubDoc, which is a good tool to consider? Both are good tools to consider for different reasons. Now, HubDoc is included for free with your Xero Starter Standard and Premium editions. So having that right there, what I said about keeping our costs low while adding additional value or automating using tools already in our toolbox, you've already got HubDoc as a tool in your toolbox. Get started with that. Once you get a feel for the data automation and you feel like you want to upgrade and automate more of your processes, that's when you want to start considering something like Dext. Can you please show us the recommended apps again? I absolutely can. Now, just bear in mind that this slide deck and the recording will be available for anyone to watch afterwards as well. Here are some of my recommended apps for getting started with advisory. A lot of these are available within the Xero app marketplace, and that can be found at apps.xero.com. And that is a massive marketplace of really great apps, and you can filter and search those for apps that are specifically good for advisory. If there are no additional questions, I'll wrap things up here because I have taken an extra 10 minutes of your day. I do apologize. If you've got any follow-up questions, as I said, reach out to your Xero account manager. If you don't have a Xero account manager or a partner consultant, join the Xero Partner Program, and your PC will be able to help you with any questions, and that might mean me as well. Alrighty, thank you very much, everyone, for listening once again. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and hopefully I'll get a chance to speak with you all very soon. Thanks.